Okay, fifth graders, so your homework tonight is talking about volume of a prism. Some of these prisms have triangular bases. We've mostly focused on the ones with rectangle bases. That's the ones that you need to know for MCA, so we put a lot of emphasis on it. But there's nothing wrong with working on some of these other shapes. This one's just going to be a lot more familiar to you. We're going to use that formula, volume equals length times width times height. This is one of those where it gives you the area or you need to find the area of the base. So that big B this time stands for the height, or I'm sorry, it stands for the area of that base. So we needed to do the area of the base first, so we'll do that. 6, I can see here, and then 4. So we'll start out 6 times 4, which equals 24. But since the shape of the base is a triangle, we need to divide it by 2. So 24 divided by 2 is going to equal 12, and then we can multiply it times its height. So 12 times 6, and when we do that, we get 72 for an answer. This one, like I said, you're a little bit more familiar with. I see the decimal here. It might throw you off a little bit. Oh, and I can see that this one is broken into pieces and parts. It looks like this might not be a square like I thought it was. Can't tell for sure, but it sure looks a little different there. It looks to me like it might be a parallelogram, and we've worked with parallelograms before, and we know that it's base times height. So we can do the same thing. We'll do our 7.2, and we're going to multiply it times its height, which was 4. 4 times 2 is 8, 7 times 4 is 28, and we've got one space behind the decimal, so we'll make it 28.8. And we don't need to cut this one in half or anything because it's a parallelogram. And then we'll multiply it times 5. Keep your decimal in mind there. And then we'll ignore it till the very end. 8 times 5 is 40. Carry your 4. 8 times 5 is 40 plus the 4 makes it 44. Carry our 4. 5 times 2 is 10. Plus another 4 is 14, and now we'll look at that one place value and we'll put it back over here, and we get 144 for the volume of that one. Alright, find out the big B, the area of the base. We've got 8 times its height is 5. 8 times 5 is 40. Don't forget it's a triangle, so we need to divide it by 2, and then we get 20. Now we're ready to multiply it times its height, which is 3.5. I'm going to change my mind and I'm going to write it down this way instead. And we'll multiply it vertically. 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 2 is 10. 3 times 5 is 3 times 0 is 0. 3 times 2 is 6. We'll add them up. 0, 0, 7. So I get 700, but I've got one decimal place to think about. And I end up with 70 for an answer on that one. This one you're probably going to want to chunk it out into pieces and figure out the area of this one and then the area of that one, or I should say the volume of this one and then the volume of that one. Let's do the big B first. For this one, 5 times 3 is 15, and then times 6. I'm doing this mentally. 5 times 6 is 30, carry the 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, so I've got 90 for that one. The area of the base on this one, I've got 3 that way. And then across, this must be 3 across, because this was 3 across, so I know that this one would be 3. So 3 times 3 is going to be 9, that's the area of the base. And then my height is the same, so 9 times 6 is 54. And I'm going to add those two volumes together, 90 plus 54, and I get 144. Hang on, that's not the right answer. Let me figure out what happened. Alright, I think I figured out my mistake. I did 3 times 3, but if I look closer, this one's a little bit wider. So this side is 3, but this side is actually 4. So on this one, I wanted to do 3 times 4 to get 12, and then multiply 12 times 6. Sorry about that. Then I get 72. So now I want to add up 72 plus 90. We'll add those two together. I get 162, and that's the right answer. Alright, this one. Well, let's figure out the area of the base. Oops, it's given to us. Hey, that makes it nice and easy. So all we have to do is multiply times its height. 15 times 3 carry the 1, 5 times 3 is 15, sorry, carry the 1, 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 more makes it 4, so we've got 45. I always look to see if it's done for you. Here's another one where it's done for you. Just saves you the step of figuring out the area of the base. They gave it to you already. So we'll take that 20, multiply it times its height of 7, and we get 140 for this one. And then this part right here, you're solving for r, so we're going to do the opposite. Or, yep, we're going to do the opposite. We'll take 144 and we're going to divide it by 36. Maybe we'll do it this way. And I'm going to grab a calculator for this one. So I'm going to try 144 and I'm going to divide it by 36. And when I do that, I find out r must be 4. I chose division on purpose because I'm looking for something that's the opposite. I'm trying to get r by itself. On this one, I'm going to subtract over here 3,577 to figure out what t must have been. So 3822 minus 3577 equals 245 for that one. And right here, we'll do the same thing. We'll figure out the opposite. So we'll put 3577, and then we'll subtract 3417, and we'll find out it is, oops, I did something wrong here. 3577 minus 3417, and I find out it is 160. And I did notice an error up here. This was actually supposed to be a negative, it says. And this one, the opposite of multiplication is division. So we'll do the same thing. 340, and we'll divide it by 68, and we find out it is 5. Alright, that's it. Thanks for working with me today.